Okay,
Okay, today's January 20th, 2025. Just opening up the invasive species meeting right now. No public comment. It doesn't look like there's anybody here. It's quite the snowstorm going. Approval of agenda. I only have one item on the agenda, which is to review our RFPs.
You may want to, just so we have a quorum, just say who's at the meeting. Roll
Oh,
call.
okay, yeah, everybody but Phil. I'm from the
So we
invasive
got
species.
Al, Kevin.
yeah, Al, Tyler and Alexis via Zoom.
And Breed's not here.
No,
Bray's not, yeah, but she's not a like true member of the committee.
No, but on the website, when you look it up for members of the committee, she's listed as a member of the committee.
Oh, okay.
Just listed as the.
okay. Reviewing correspondence. I got, and I haven't sent it out yet. I got a 2024 Porter's Lake cost from Bree. She says the management total cost is $23,887.89. So that's the management. And the treatment, field work, et cetera, total cost is $23,347.31. And I'll provide you with a breakdown of how she works the cost. When I get my computer working. Right now, I'm just working off the phone.
So Doug, I didn't hear the very beginning, so,
This is the 2024 management total
Okay.
cost.
okay,
So the lake management fees are $23,887.89.
The one thing we need to be sure of, if we're gonna use those numbers at all, is that the fish study is not in there.
Correct.
Make it apples to apples, and I believe it's not in there, because I went back and looked at some of my numbers from the quarterly reports I would get from Bree. And I don't think the fish study numbers are in there.
It's not. That matches up with, I found an email where she had sent the year-to-date totals for 2024, and that sounds like what you're saying. It was 47,000 total.
yeah,
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I don't see a line item for the fish study. So that's just cursory review. Next item is we received 2 RFPs for the the 2025 3-year contract for our lake management. PLM was not one of them. I did receive a call from Bree with a number of reasons why she did not apply. She said that based on workload and a variety of other things, that she wanted to step down. I believe the companies that are recommended to use a PLM for treatment. So we may have the, I don't know who else does treatment, but she did mention that the guy that does the treatment, and I can't remember his name, sorry, was interested in doing the treatment, but she was not interested in doing the lake management. So we have the 2 proposals that Cindy sent us, and I haven't had a chance to read the second one, the progressive here. It does look like, so I don't know, I guess I open it up to discussion right now. At one point, we talked about, I guess, continue to talk, sorry. At one point, we talked about our review process, and that is if we had, I think we sent it out to 8 or 10 folks, and if we had 8 or 10 folks, but right now we only have 2. So how would you like to proceed here? I mean,
The other thing I saw was it's not clear to me that we're getting apples to apples comparison. Because one of the 2 that we did get, it looked to me like they had mixed where they were including costs in there for the application as well as for their management. That's one point that I saw. The other point that I saw was it didn't appear to be clear to the two bidders. At least one of them, it didn't seem to be clear to them that they are going to be the contact person and with the application team. The application team is not going to interact with the business, with the township board. That's our job, and that's his or her job, but not to have a, you know, him or her report for the management group and then have somebody else represent the application group to us or to the board. It should all go through the lake manager. To us and to the board. At least that's how I thought we left it. Is that true?
Hmm.
The more,
Somebody paraphrase that for me?
He just doesn't think the two bid proposals are, apples to apples, that's what I caught. And
Oh,
and
okay.
he's concerned that some of this one says lake treatment monitoring, it just, it's how they break out their costs. He's just wondering if they're, you know, he wants to make sure if we're doing a net assessment of the two bids that we're, you know, lining them up so that we're not making sure that we're doing apples to apples, not apples to oranges.
I see.
And we may have to ferret through that a little bit to figure that out, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, but-
we don't want 15 people taking direction from the art committee or from the township board. We want communications to be clearer than that. That's why we restrict the channels that you have. But I'm just not sure that that's how it was viewed.
I think that's something that can be cleared up easily, whichever one is selected, but when I read them, I thought they both seemed to be seeing themselves as a liaison. One of them wrote it in as a treatment liaison, but other one used a similar language. I don't think they had anything in their treatment.
Yeah, one said monitoring in
Yeah.
their budget. So if you look at the two budget proposals, there's lake treatment monitoring, provide professional georeference surveys, oversight and administration of treatments per RFP requirements. The other one is treatment liaison, and then treatment outcome reviews.
There was other verbiage in there, though, not in the chart. I couldn't highlight it, but I'll look for it and let everybody know what it is. It's the kind of thing that you just call the guys up and ask them the question. What did you mean by this?
Yeah,
And that's.
I'd say after reviewing both of these, I think interviewing both would be really advantageous to us. To maybe put some of the stuff that is apples to oranges in context.
Right now, they're considerably higher than what we're walking away from in cost.
Yeah, and that's something that Bree had alluded to already.
That's what we expected.
And that's what she suggested. She would be higher too at one point, but go ahead. Sorry.
I just like to interject, I think, and you know, you guys do what you think, but I think since PLM didn't apply and Bree is continually still engaged as our lake manager, I think we'd be silly not to ask her input. And I'm not saying we have to go with it or whatever, but I think it's an opportunity to have someone who has real experience with our lake to maybe look at these two proposals. She knows who does what and, you know, all the stuff of the industry. And if she's honest and insightful, you think she'd maybe give us a little direction. Just a thought, because it, you know, before it was a sort of a non-issue because she was gonna apply and it was sort of be a difficult, you know, walking a fine line. And now it's like, hey, she's engaged, she's our lake manager. She ought to at least maybe give us her thoughts. And just, that's my opinion.
Is she currently our lake manager though, or is that contract up?
You currently are lake manager.
When does it end, Al? I mean, it's,
And we, the contract.
Yeah.
You just say.
so she's no longer our lake manager?
Correct.
It's over. Okay, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know what their her,
Before we-
I did ask her if we could call her and ask for additional information, you know, advice, and maybe use her as an outside consultant and thing, and she said she'd be happy to do that. So that's to answer your question, if you wanted to reach out to her. I mean, it had to be committee decision, but
yeah,
she would be interested in
well, I just think that,
assisting.
you know, Tyler's in his field and Alexis is in her field and you're in your field. And after you've done these for 20 or 30 years, you sometimes know that, you know, this is a contractor who's good to work with. Here's something, maybe they could help us. Say, hey, you got two legitimate great candidates here, or say, you know, I've had some experiences that I'm not real good with this company, you know, and so I'm just saying, maybe we could gain some insight if we chose to, and maybe it's not like we got 10 we're trying to fare through.
One of them restricted us from doing that,
What's that?
the body, from sharing the cost sheet with anybody but people on our team. Making the decision. She didn't want it to go to any other contractors. I can't remember which one it was, but it's specifically in their notes to us.
Yeah, one of them definitely has that clause in it.
Yeah,
Can't remember where, I don't remember seeing it in both, but I did see it in one.
I think we can make it three, because number one, she's still our lake manager. Number two, she's not bidding against them. And she's got a boatload of experience on the front end of it, so. I don't think it would be a problem.
But unless she's kicked off our committees, according to what you said, she's still on our committee.
No, she's not kicked off yet. Well, we-
She's not on the committee.
So,
You said she's not on the committee?
so we can talk about these two choices here. And they both have references. So that is one way to confirm, you know, their work effort. So do we want to interview both then, and
Okay, so.
I mean, I think we definitely each need to make sure we're reviewing both prior to any interviews. Setting aside a list of the differences or things, you know, have things prepared that we want to ask that, you know, we need clarification on.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't receive this until just prior to the meeting, so I haven't had a chance, one of them, I haven't had a chance to, I did read the other one thoroughly, and this one I haven't had a chance, so I don't think I can. And Al has already suggested that the proposals are different, I mean, this progressive already has, well, what I would say, contract language, which talks about dispute resolution, you know, code of, talks about termination and all that, where the other one did not include any of that kind of contract language, and frankly, the contract language should probably be coming from the township, and they're standardized. Whenever they do a contract, they probably have standardized contract agreement language. You don't know,
I
okay?
wouldn't comment on that.
Oh, okay.
My guess is the way the township has done it, we've probably gone to our attorney to draft it, would be my guess.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think my biggest question with Progressive is I don't 100% understand their budget breakdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I just briefly looked at that page. And it doesn't talk about who's gonna do the work. And which professional is gonna do the work.
Well,
Yes.
for me, it's the math. That
It's the one-time math.
additional activities column. I don't think that is included in any of the budget totals.
It's not.
Oh. And then an additional 36,000 right there, right?
Or,
No.
and maybe some of them are, but then the value engineered proposal, so that's what I'm trying to figure out.
These things happen.
Yeah, I pulled this up, I put this into a spreadsheet, so I kind of figured it out. And
Okay.
yeah, the engineered proposal, they're
Can you
just
share?
like, yeah, I could send that around. It's just pretty basic, but yeah, I can just send it to you. You're gonna see.
Share screen maybe, or, of course.
Oh, yeah,
everyone see it.
do that.
Yeah, cause I don't know what happened to the cord to connect me to the TV.
You'd have to stare over our shoulders here, Kevin, if you wanted to see.
Yeah, cause I don't have the breakdown that from this Kaiser group, indeed.
It's in the body, it's like a small
yeah.
little
It's like a
table.
small table, yeah,
Yeah,
toward the end of it.
On these engineered things that they're saying we should maybe be able to take credit for, I don't think we can count those in, because I don't think they have enough data to make the decision that they can do that. And for example, we talked to PLM last year about reducing some of the data load and stuff like that, and that would have been in their proposal this year, but they wouldn't know the ones they're talking about. I hesitate to put, if we do this, we might get something from it, and weigh that into the decision. We can put in the decision that they're proactive, they've got their eye on the ball, and that we probably can do something with them, but we don't know how much it is.
I just sent you like I said, the basic spreadsheet, but basically what I think I figured out is that first, or that 30, or what was it, the value engineered proposal, that's what they're suggesting to cut. So that would be the savings to get down to 36,000 if we want to cut those things I mentioned. And then, what was that?
oh, okay, yeah, I see now,
And then-
thank you.
And then the other, that other column, let's see, what do they call it?
All additional activities.
Yeah, additional activities. I'm guessing that's just additional proposals for each year. And it
Yeah,
ends up being about, 12,000 to 16,000 each year could be added on. So those I just kept separate because they're sort of, bonus things that would be in addition to the basic proposal that we kind of drew out.
yeah, and I guess what kind of threw me off a little bit was that 6,500 in laboratory fees.
Yeah.
Which is in that same column, but it's not an additional service, so.
Yeah, that one was weird. I kind of read that the same way. Yeah, like that was included in the 10,000, but that would be worth clarifying.
But if we stop and look at it and take a look at what we paid last year for PLM, that's a significantly higher cost.
Right,
But
Just a-
Bree also mentioned that it would be significantly higher if they were to pursue this as well.
because they were locked into a contract.
we broke
And
up.
then even after the initial contract, they said that because they already had so much data on the lake and they knew, exactly what they were doing out there, that they never adjusted the cost. She told me that she could have been charging us a lot more than what they were.
Yeah.
Happy with the situation where they had one group they had to deal with, they didn't have to deal with two. There were all sorts of pluses and minuses. We realized the benefit of it because we got most of the credit for it. And I think that shows up in the numbers that she sent in that spreadsheet.
Did you find the other budget, Kevin?
I didn't, but Lexus, I got a Lexus stuff.
I can show you
Yeah,
budget on my copy.
yeah, and I might wanna print these all off, and so I can.
Bill maybe too, yeah, cause I don't know what I'm seeing. I'm seeing one full proposal from the Hauser group, but the Kaiser group, I'm getting a lot of stuff, but I'm not getting any proposal.
They book,
Here it goes.
Oh, okay.
there's the budget on,
That's for the Kaiser group.
yeah.
Yes, yeah, I don't have, I'm not seeing that.
It's in this. You can receive that, so
You
it's
should
in
have gotten
there.
that.
When did you send that?
Saturday.
Yeah, and it was in there.
Yeah, the one from the
Maybe we just go over and copy them right now.
Yeah, we can do that.
You get the
Cause I
bill,
am gonna want my copies, cause I have made.
See,
a
here's
couple
the
notes.
Saturday,
you get the
These-
bill.
Yep,
Should have about 4 emails from Saturday.
Kaiser.
yeah, that's the one.
For the progressive group,
Attachment, yep, that attachment, and it's towards the end,
Okay,
it's a small.
I do
page.
have it.
2 pages from the end. You keep
I'm
scrolling,
sorry, Al?
Al,
I got it.
he's looking
I
at
got it.
mine. I handed him mine.
look at progressive,
Page 7.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, we can make copies or whatever.
Yeah, I'd like that, it's not too much trouble.
I think we ought to develop a list of questions that we have for clarification. And then decide what we wanna do with them. Do we wanna take a stab at the answers ourselves, or do we want a phone call? Do we want an in-person? I didn't
Well,
get- I didn't
we
get
could do a Zoom meeting probably with, you know, they're both a little ways away, so we could do a Zoom meeting with the whole team
Mhm.
at some point,
I
as soon as we
didn't
get our,
we didn't get the feeling that they needed to do a site visit for bid.
yep, that's listed in there, and I think one of them said May or April, I don't know.
But I mean, in the selection process, I don't think that requires them to be face to face with us. Does it?
Well, we can set up interviews and then they can decide whether they wanna drive up here or do it Zoom.
Yeah, there you go,
It's up to them.
yeah,
Like offer both of them, so you know that we have Zoom capability, Microsoft Team capability, and whatever.
right,
I got
so
a,
yeah. The budget, Kevin, looks like the Kaiser one's about 10 grand more than Bree charged us, and the Progressive, according to Alexis's thing, is 53 the first year. So
That's with additional
Right.
services.
That's with what?
Addition.
Oh, addition.
Additions, like if we wanted to have them do a fish study, that's an additional
Oh,
70
I see.
or 10,000, whatever it said in there.
So the base is the 40,000 then?
Yep, and then they have the cost savings budget.
You can get it as low as 36.2, depending on if these factors occur.
Oh, okay.
number,
But if you're comparing kind of apples to apples, you want to look at the standard scope of work RFP budget against the Kaiser and Associates budget. So the difference there would be 40,000 to 33,892, so 34,000. So Kaiser's roughly 6,000 cheaper, but I haven't, made sure that everything is the same.
Okay,
All
Yeah,
right,
'cause they both worded them differently,
yeah,
a little bit.
they did, yeah.
And then I noticed too, at the bottom of the progressive one, there's also those additional reimbursable charges
Right,
below the budget. So fees for program services when the owner has engaged and a supplier architect is subject to a fee. So some of these would probably never come up. Building permits, outside services, consultants, travel, lodging at cost plus 10%. Copies, telephone, cell charge 25 per month. Miscellaneous office expense charges will not be applied to invoices under $1,000. And then a bunch of stuff for CAD, which I don't know if that's a per request type of thing, but mileage is reimbursable.
the other thing we're gonna wanna be sure of is that even though with, PLM, it's not in there because we didn't do much, driver assisted or diver assisted, except for the little bit we did.
right,
We need to be sure that out there pricing it on, because it looks like they've done diver assisted. And I don't know if their prices reflect that some of it's gonna be that way, or it's not gonna be that way.
right, that was the Kaiser one, wasn't it? I didn't see that in the Progressive dash discussion, but
I think it was Kaiser.
yeah.
For a while, these two kind of just melt in your mind and go freshen up and go back and take a look at them.
Yeah.
Personally, just not looking at prices, I was just looking through all their websites and current jobs and all that kind of stuff. I sort of personally I like the fact that the, progressive companies were doing Pentwater Lake and, what thought that was, you know, Pentwater and Portage are very similar animals as far as their connectivity to Lake Michigan. I also know they were doing Spring Lake, which is that's a Portage Lake on steroids, with the Grand River and that huge big mouth down there, but it definitely connects to Lake Michigan. So I mean, I thought to me, that I did see in their video on Pentwater Lake, they were mechanical harvesting frog bit or something. I don't know what it was, but they had a paddle wheel machine in there, harvesting stuff in Pentwater Lake. And I thought, well, at least they're doing some, alternate techniques. So I mean, to me, that was just my quick going through the different things where I felt sort of like that group maybe had, some experience in areas, not these, landlocked lakes or Black Lake's a great lake, but it's a monster lake landlocked in the middle of the state. So I don't know. So that to me was just caught my mind a little bit, even before I saw prices. So
Okay.
that's,
References with callable numbers that we can talk to,
Yeah, they both have references, yep.
callable. They give us telephone numbers for them, or contact information.
Al, I don't know what you said.
I said, do we have enough information to contact the reference? The address, telephone number, whatever.
I think there's enough info.
Yeah, I do.
I think Kevin makes a good point, and the people that know what they're doing, or what these guys are doing out there, had to be on the water committee.
Yep, there's both of them have suitable contact information now.
Yeah. And what I understand, when we got the list to send to people, those two were pretty high on the list. As far as their good comments were.
You, familiar with the lake scan that was mentioned in Kaiser's?
Alexis, have you ever seen it? The lake scan program?
No, not unmuted. Yeah, I was pretty happy to see that. I think let's see, I have to pull up what they said specifically about it. I haven't used, I'm assuming some kind of like, underwater camera. I didn't really read that too closely.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it
you
right
guys know far more than I do, but it seemed like you can get information in real time or darn close to real time instead of having to wait.
That was a big deal
But-
with PLM, wasn't it? Yeah.
But the other thing I thought was interesting is one of their team members was like, I guess, an advocate of that or really potentially involved in something similar
Yeah,
to
he
that.
was 40-year Michigan State PhD guy that sort of developed it, sounded like.
Something
it
similar.
says it's compatible, but with our AVAS data, but Alexis, is that proprietary with Bree, or is that something, because you had a hard time
No,
getting some of that. haven't you?
Avis is a standardized, it's not a proprietary thing, that's Eagle uses that, and let's go to Alexis, she knows that
Sure.
better, but it's,
Has
But
anybody contacted Eagles on these guys? See what they're.
no, we
Nobody's
just got,
contacted anybody, Al.
we
We're
just got them,
reviewing them today.
yep.
Well, I know, but we had their names a couple of weeks ago.
No,
Well, we're not gonna.
I didn't get them till
contact somebody
Saturday.
Before we
Yeah.
know if they're gonna even
right.
submit.
So Alexis, could you describe Avis to Kevin here for me, please?
Yeah, it's just the state's, vegetation monitoring protocol. They just has them go out, and that's what they've been doing all the years on Portage, and they do rake tosses and they characterize the vegetation. We had Bree add in those points, so we were doing Avis plus a point intercept. It's just different ways of collecting the data. You know, there's either way they're doing a plant survey. It's just a, you know, different methodology of plant surveying.
And I've heard it suggested that, you know, like Minnesota and other states are adopting a different standard that's better somehow, you know, so collecting and sharing that information, I guess I don't know, just don't have any facts for that, but
Yeah, a lot of them seem to be moving more toward point intercept, but just the Avis has them sort of doing a lot of, you know, qualitative assessment of a wide swath and, you know, looking as they go. And then, you know, they're supposed to be doing rake toss, but in practice, they don't often do rake toss the whole way. Whereas the point intercept, it gives them a point to get to and to throw a rake there at that point.
okay,
Just makes it a little more quantitative.
okay. Does that help, Kevin?
Yeah,
I'm looking back to Lake Scan. I guess I skimmed it and I'm not seeing where I guess I assumed it was underwater camera. It doesn't really say what it is.
I think
It
it's,
doesn't.
I don't know if anyone else found that.
Tyler, you gonna say something?
I said, I think it's sonar
Okay.
in combination with like, your typical like AVAS. So essentially the same protocol, but I think they developed their points based off. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to find it now in their proposal.
Oh yeah, it's like the page numbers. It's the last page. Mentioned
Oh.
rake tows, visual observations, and sonar recordings.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I remember that.
But either way, they did mention that there would be I guess it was real-time password protected access to vegetation mapping. So either way they're doing digital data collection, which will be handy. Is
Yeah.
what we were hoping for.
The other thing
Yeah.
that I kind of like about the sonar, they had mentioned somewhere in here that, so just above their budget, 2 paragraphs up, there are 2 considerations brought up here for ISC discussion: extensive fish habitat analysis and updated phosphorus loading. Our fish habitat analysis used sophisticated sonar to map bottom composition and identify woody debris in nearshore areas. So I don't know if they're already gonna be using sonar for their vegetation surveys, if we also would have access to that data without doing like the extensive fish habitat analysis. You know, just as a little more information for us as data of, you know, woody debris within the lake, if that would be something that would be provided. I'd noticed there's references of fish habitat analysis where Progressive is much more of a fish study looking at diet and, you know, actually catching fish. So I don't know if Kaiser actually proposed anywhere about fish collection, or if it was just proposed as a option as a habitat assessment.
The other,
Good point.
as you get clarification on, is one of them, I can't remember which one, had mentioned something about website improvements or whatever. Did we ask them for that, or is that just something they provide as a,
That was one of the additional things that we could pay for.
because we've already paid for website development and stuff like this, and that was through Ed Bradford to a group down in, I think they're down in Grand Rapids.
Oh, okay.
So before we would go and do anything with website development, we need to talk with him and find out if he's got it covered or not.
Yeah, and that from what I got off of Parks and Rec too, because there was that discussion with Parks and Rec. The township definitely, I think, feels that the township website should be utilized. I don't know if it's really important for the invasive species committee to have a separate web page that it would be 5,000 initially for them to set up and then 2,000 per year for them to manage.
No, I think the township webpage should be the go-to place. I mean, we already have. I think,
Unless we can
but
show.
you know, maybe they could incorporate or put a link to that township page if you know, if that's what they wanted.
Is there any possibility, Cindy, do you know of contractors, like if we were to go with one of these contractors, them having access to the Onekama Township website and adding things pertinent to lake monitoring, treatments taking place?
Yeah, what I would say, I mean, I don't know the answer to that, because what I have found is even getting the access was very interesting. And so I know there's concern about allowing too much access, because you have everybody, having the ability to do, whatever they want, but I do think that we can limit their access to like the invasive species page,
Okay, that's my understanding as
or
well.
they couldn't touch anything else. And so I don't know that anybody's ever inquired before, Tyler, but I can't think of a negative reason. I mean, I can't. Because I've got access, so if they put something on there that I thought was inappropriate, or the committee did, I could delete it, you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, I just
Um,
wonder if that's maybe an interview question, like for Progressive that's, saying that they'll develop a website and do all this stuff. Would they be willing to manage a web page within the Onekama Township website for a different fee kind of thing? Just something to think about.
Yeah, and let me ask that question too, which we have a little bit of time because we're not interviewing them today. Just to make sure that there's not something that I'm missing that the township would say absolutely not.
Yeah.
I could, about two or
Cause I
three
don't know
different,
all I don't know about, how,
I think we could come up with two or three reasons I can by myself of what we would want to have public interaction to the website. To report invasive species. There's a whole bunch of things that they could do that we would want something in place to make it happen, and that would be where to make it happen. And especially if we go into any kind of thing with non-aquatic invasives and stuff like that, we gotta have, that's a barrier to figure out how we're gonna get recording on that and how we're gonna get where it would work or whatever. But I think that was right. I think it's an interview question. And it's a what if.
Yeah, we kind of developed a scoring criteria thing last meeting, so. And we had some questions, and Tyler did a nice job of putting some questions together for us.
Yep.
Based on those questions, Tyler, and the two proposals that you see, do you have any changes or additions to those questions you would want to ask here?
I mean, I'm not looking at the questions that I developed. I think all those questions are fine. I just think that there probably are gonna need to be some additional proposal specific questions,
Okay.
I agree.
and
That you're potentially not gonna ask both of them because
Right.
maybe one person's proposal covers it and the other person's doesn't.
Yeah, for clarification
Yeah.
purposes, yeah.
And, just to add, as I'm like looking through these things a little bit more, like I like some of the things that I see from Kaiser They even called attention to things that they saw in our 2023 lake management report.
I agree.
That's, yeah, stood out as statistically impossible, kind of thing.
So there was a lot
So,
mixed up between millions and billions.
yeah, well, and just the fact that they did their due diligence reviewing things, and how they indicated that, like they use low level detection tests, which I don't know, did PLM utilize labs that use low level detection tests for certain things? Maybe, maybe not, but just the fact that they kind of called attention to that. And then I also like the table that they included. Let me see what page that is. I guess B2, B2, kind of a table from, I think, North Lake, and just kind of broke out some of the different lake scan metrics. They've got species richness, Shannon biodiversity index, Shannon morphology index, or floristic quality index, and then also a recreational nuisance presence, which I think is kind of a key thing for us because we're always kind of focused on boat traffic and the discussion of whether or not it creates a recreational issue. So the fact that they're kind of already breaking that out in their metrics, I like that. Just see, it's different than, you know, I picture what we got from Progressive to be very similar to what we would have gotten from PLM, kind of standard. And I'm just seeing a little more detail in some of the Kaiser stuff.
Right.
The other thing which probably Alexis can speak to this, maybe all of you guys can, I just, my novice look at this, I was more impressed with, the experience and resume of some of the players in the Kaiser proposal.
Yep. It's more detailed, certainly.
But I mean, maybe,
It feels
maybe
more
the
in
team-
like unique to our request. They like actually kind of took what little information they had on Portage Lake and worked that into their proposal as well.
Yeah.
You know, if there
And even just the kind of the lake scan map that they put on the very bottom showing those polygon areas.
yeah.
It
I
looks
guess
like,
so.
you know, they took the time to like look at depths and actually create data from different, or create a map from different data points.
Yeah.
were there references that were on there or their committees, were they residents? Or were they all professor types?
No, the references, they incorporated people that, for instance, a committee such as ours,
Okay, so we have an invasive species committee, do they have anything with the clients that they work with that are similar in structure?
I saw in Pentwater Lake, they had a citizens lake committee.
yeah,
And then this, I noticed that Paul Hauser's name was, he was part of that committee, sort of like Bree was for us, like the consultant. And I noticed I thought Spring Lake, I thought this Paul Hauser's name was also, when I read through, was on the committee.
okay.
So that would be the only thing about the size of the company. You wouldn't want to have a lake manager, then all of a sudden they send their graduate student to you or something. You know, I just don't know how it all works. You know,
Right.
when you hire this company to be your lake manager, are you hiring a person or you're hiring, you know, someone will be there to work with you? It's sort of nice to have a person, you know what I mean?
Go-to person, one person, yeah.
And I don't know, I just don't know the structure, how they, but I did
Yeah.
see, if you look at Pentwater's website, which I thought was good, and then you look through different parts of it, they had the committee, and I don't know what they called it, but it was wasn't But yeah, they had a thing on
Some are
invasive
boards,
species,
some are
they had a something on, I looked at it because it was treatments or something, and they had on their website, it talked about what their treatment program was and what they're going after and who was on the committee that helped make the decision, all that kind of stuff. That was on the Water Lakes Improvements website or something.
Yeah,
That, we'd be dealing with a couple of people, kind of doing the lake management role. There'd be one identified to us, but if you look at the background of the people he said the support staff is, a lot of them are management. And if he's busy at 3 or 4 other different places, wouldn't surprise me. I think the same thing goes on at PLM, we just don't see it. When do we want to get the questions done by?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll need more time to redo it, obviously, but certainly a week from now, we could try to set up interviews.
So try to get the questions out by Friday to you, Doug?
Sure, send it to everybody though, I think would be best. And again, I'm retiring at the end of next month, so the email that most people are sending is going to my work email, and that won't be active after February 28th, so,
good for you.
yeah.
Listen, and so you guys know, did you know that COVID has now got a virus back up?
Oh, lovely.
But what?
COVID has a virus back.
COVID is a virus offshoot from that, and it gets on your skin, and you itch like hell. I got it because of where I'm at for rehab.
Ugh.
People that had the COVID to begin with, didn't know they had COVID. It was mild. But this, all of a sudden, 2 weeks, everybody started itching.
Thinking about visiting Alabama now.
No, no. You don't want that?
No.
Oh,
It's miserable. Yeah.
sounds awful, yeah.
Questions for you by Friday, right? And then see if we can maybe do something today.
To all of us, but then I think we should probably meet an hour before we have our first interview so we can yay or nay to those comments that everybody has about clarifications, I guess, or half hour. I don't know how much time we're gonna need before to review the questions on problems with clarification on the 2 proposals before we interview them. And is next Monday, you know, since Mondays are our days, I mean, is next Monday a reasonable date?
I think so.
I think I can make that.
You can, okay.
Yeah, I can do that as well.
So you have a second on mine.
Cindy's looking for the schedule for this meeting room here, so we'll have to,
What day was that?
a week from today, I guess.
That would be the,
There's nothing on it.
12.
Okay, so that would be, no, the January 27th, I think.
oh, I'm the wrong one.
Oh, you would have been late.
That's right. January 20.
I mean, I can confirm it tomorrow, but the calendar doesn't show anything.
Today's what?
20th,
20th.
the 27th.
Man, I'm in the wrong year. Man, somebody making sense here. 27th,
Yeah,
I'm good.
okay.
Yeah.
Can you check with Phil and share some of this stuff that we
Yeah.
talked about?
And so what time you thinking, Doug?
Is the same time okay?
And have the applicants come in at 6 or something?
5 and then 6?
I'd say 4:30, that's sort of scrambled, that's sort of tight, I think.
Yeah, might be.
If they give,
5:30 and 6:30?
probably.
I mean, do we want to move our time up a little bit so that we're not there until 8 o'clock?
Start at 4.
Start at 4? and then an interview at 5, and then an interview at 6.
What's the date on that again? Doug, I'm just,
January 27th, 7 days from now.
Just think there
And what,
there's a chance to go longer than an hour, I think, with the number of questions we have.
Oh, good
I
point.
agree, I agree, that's what, part of what I was just gonna say. But I think we also need to make sure that they're gonna be available.
Yeah.
and we don't want them driving at night in the winter time, forcing them to stay late. That's not a fun drive.
They got big budget, they still have to down the casino.
That's reimbursable, Kevin.
Oh,
So,
well, they wanna do a virtual.
yeah, I can reserve the room, but like I said, I think we're gonna have to confirm their availability.
Sure.
127 at what time?
4 o'clock,
Pardon?
starting at 4, we'll meet for an hour. And then,
Starting
you
at,
want an hour and a half for each person, or?
I just need to know what to block out, how much time.
Yeah,
Right.
so we have,
The afternoon or what?
if you want to go earlier in the day, that's fine with me too. I mean, I gotta look at my schedule again.
Yeah, I could do during the day.
Wanna go for
I can go anytime that day.
it? Yeah.
The only thing I would miss is pickleball.
Uh-oh, well,
Oh, no,
It's okay.
okay.
take a day out.
So I heard people wanted to do it earlier. Is 4 o'clock okay, or should we do it earlier?
I think if people are available during the day, it would be preferable. It's just getting kind of
Okay.
late.
Better during the day, okay. Starting at what time then, Alexis, do you think?
Oh, I'm pretty flexible anytime that day.
What time?
But is everybody
I'm
available?
flexible, I'm flexible anytime.
I am too, I can go early, I can go whenever,
I can go anytime that day.
me too.
Cindy wants to be wrapped up for pickleball.
Yeah.
Pickleball.
No, my pickleball's 9 AM, so, and I play 5 other days, so don't worry. If I miss one, it's okay.
So what time to start at?
I have a meeting earlier, 2 is about as early as I can go.
I think
Sounds-
2 sounds good to me.
It was fine.
2 is good for everybody,
Go past 5, you're doing pizza, right?
and heck, it's a work meeting, I don't care anymore, right?
That's right. What the heck?
Well, and probably doing it earlier too will probably, potentially give us better luck with them being able to participate too.
So I'll call them, so 2, and then, first one at 3, and the second one at 4:30,
Sounds good.
okay? Didn't bring any paper with me, so I'm.
Anyway, be careful of that virus going around. It was nasty. Wear a mask. 'Cause it was
Yeah,
airborne transmitted. They tell us after we already got exposed.
yeah, we don't want that, it sounds horrible. Interview. At 3.
So are you gonna contact the 2 of them then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I received a call, I should share, received a call, they are struggling with our server and the size of their submissions, and so I followed up with both of them. Because, they called me because of their problems with the server, but they did get them in, so that's good. So I do have both their phone numbers. Okay, you at 3 and 4:30. And that 4:30 could run till 6.
And then pizza.
Yeah. Did you happen to see that, I was just looking through this, the Pentwater Lake, program budget, did you see what their annual cost is and what they're paying people, and
No,
I just think Pentwater's, it's, a lot like us, but I
yeah,
don't know how many acre lake it is, but it's close.
yeah,
Aquatic plant control, 25 grand, lake management consulting, 13,000. Informational and education, 2 grand, I'm not sure what that is. Water quality, 2,500 bucks.
yeah.
Consulting, 15,000. And then contingency, 6,000, so their annual budget is 63.5, they're spending on Pentwater Lake.
Okay,
And that's being funneled through their, what they call the Pentwater Lake Improvement Board, which is sort of like us, but
yeah,
riparian owners, township people, a village person, Oceana County Administrator, drain commissioner, and then they also have the environmental consultant who is from this company that we're looking at. I think he's the person from this, I think it's from this Progressive Companies.
Yeah,
You
so
might be-
that's the other law for special assessments when it probably includes more than one township, which
Oh.
is the case for like Bear Lake. So Bear Lake, it's a Bear Lake Improvement Board, and they have a requirement within that who must serve on that committee. Like the drain commissioner has to be a part of it. You have to have a township representative from each township.
I see.
So it's the same thing, but falls under a different law.
Oh, okay. And then they have a copy in there of the RFP they sent out for their to hire this person.
Lake management.
Yeah,
And that's on their webpage?
yeah, and it's got a, sort of like we did, but it shows exactly, scope and proposed content and just the whole deal, but it's sort of interesting, because then they, and I think that's for their lake management, like we're doing right now,
Mhm.
so that's, we're not the only ones having to do this.
Yeah,
We have
So
one
just a little food for thought before we leave and everybody reviews these more in depth. Do we want to all utilize the scoring matrix that we came up with and, review each one of these independently, put a score to it, and then we can bring that to our 2 o'clock as well? We can kind of evaluate, that way before the interview.
sure.
I'm game as long as it's not 30 for company.
Say that again, Al, I'm sorry.
How many things are you looking to do the score assessment on? How many parts to the program are you going to look at? The whole thing?
Yeah, so, I mean, we developed that last meeting, we developed the questions and about scoring criteria, so Tyler's just suggesting that we take a look at that scoring criteria and score the 2 proposals and kind of evaluate those before we get into the next, and we can review that at 2 o'clock, next meeting, next week.
Yeah. Okay.
Sound good?
I'm okay with it.
Anything else? Good discussion. It's good that we got proposals. I was a little concerned there.
Well, yeah, a week ago we didn't.
Yeah.
I sent a reminder email like, hi, just again.
And it was good because one of them called me and said, one of them said that, they worked closely with Bree, and I can't remember which one. And they didn't want to, jeopardize that working relationship that they have with Bree. And that was the first one, the Kaiser. They did not want to jeopardize that working relation they had with Bree. And I said, well, I suspect that she's going to join, and if you're selected for the contract, then you can give Bree a call and find out if you can continue that working relationship. If you can't continue, if you have this sense that you can't continue that working relationship, then we can go to our second choice, so I just wanted, basically, I didn't want him dropping out because he didn't want to you know,
Well, I was wondering, that explains it because the progressive, Paul,
yeah,
the very first email I sent, Paul responded immediately, said, we're going to, send a proposal.
and that was the first guy that called me.
Right, and then, I'm thinking, okay, we're not gonna get any till after, well, then when it was a week before, I thought, I'm just gonna send an email out again, and, use the thing like, hi, it's a reminder, but also I haven't received one.
Yeah,
So that if somebody thinks they sent it, and then that's when Mark Kaiser. And I'll bet that might be when he called you just like a week ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Because
I
I
think he
did not
talked
hear
to-
from him. at the beginning.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I, like I say, I wanted to get as many proposals as we could, and, I mean, if it meant that, I mean, certainly, we're not gonna hold him to his art contract if he felt that, he would be jeopardizing his working relationship with Bree, so.
The other thing is, as we get the proposal and we understand it, we've got to get
Yeah.
Bradford for the SAD.
Yeah,
We need the finance for next year, what's gotta be in the bank. How much can we spend? We're gonna have some unknowns, so we're gonna have to allow a little more contingency. You don't,
yeah, and I think that could be brought up at the township meeting thing, because
you don't
when we make that recommendation to the township board, our recommendation, then we can talk about this, what Al's talking about, do we have the money to bring this person on?
we don't need to share that, additional money that we have with the contractor, that's just between us and the township. If we put a higher contingency in there because it's a little less known to us, that's between us and the township, it doesn't, we don't have to share that with the contractor.
Right, okay, yeah, that makes sense, because then they'll charge us all the way up to the end of this SAD, so they don't even know how much we have. Anything else?
Okay,
So we have our homework, we gotta do the scoring, come up with some clarifying questions. Share those, and if you think, if I get enough of those, that, send them to everybody and include my home email. I want you guys starting to use that, which is DougJBerry@gmail. But
We just
Nice.
send an email to everybody with that.
I've used it
Okay.
before. Yeah, it's DougJBerry@gmail. And,
But you know what, I'd like, if I'm gonna converse with Phil too,
yeah,
and I don't know if Cindy can do it or what, cause I still on my phone, sometimes I got this one version, sometimes I just don't have, I want two crisp paper versions like
yeah.
you guys have that I can print out on my home printer and just, so I can really synthesize and
Well,
dive into
your
it.
printer's right in there. Let's make
Okay.
your copies right
The
now.
only thing I'll do though, I'll print from my phone there because I wrote some notes.
Oh,
okay.
okay, okay, yeah,
And
it was fine.
so,
And so, and maybe you could give me a copy for Phil too, cause if we,
Yeah.
I want two, hard copies that I could put right next to each other and go through them. I wanna use, then I'm gonna download Tyler's matrix that he sent us out.
She can print it, she's got it right there,
Yeah.
she can print it for us.
And then I'll go through and score them using Tyler's
Yep.
matrix. And then I'll be ready for the
Interview questions.
January 27th thing. There's some questions on there too, we developed.
well, and I can't copy my matrix for you because I wrote a little bit on those too.
Oh, okay,
Well, I got it on my phone, but I don't know if my phone talks to their printer.
I'll take care.
oh, she's got it, she's
Okay.
got it for us, that's nice.
a nurse to get your document printed. I don't have access to a printer, can't do anything like that, I've got it, my cell phone and a portable. That's what I get,
Okay,
and all those contracts that you sent out Friday, Doug, I mean, all of those on the cell phone.
yeah. That sucks.
Got time to mail them a copy?
Pardon?
I was wondering if anybody had time to mail you copies.
Yeah, I prefer mine. Just send it to, I'll do it. I got the thing set up now with I can get it printed.
Okay.
And who's rooting for Ohio State tonight?
I am.
Notre Dame, you don't want Notre Dame?
I want the Big Ten, man.
Yeah?
Take the
Yeah,
revenue.
I probably always go with Big Ten, but here's what I love about tonight's game. I can actually relax and watch it, because I really don't care. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right,
And Michigan beat them, so that makes,
yeah,
Michigan look better if they beat the national champs.
yeah, that's right.
I root for somebody because Detroit didn't.
Yeah,
That was a letdown.
yeah, well,
What a
My
terrible.
brother, my brother was there and he said it was bad.
oh,
You know, it's like, I couldn't understand it today. They haven't played that bad in 4 years.
No, it happened.
yeah.
They're gonna have to give up. No more.
Okay, we'll expect,
Motion
I don't know, if you wanna do, should we share the score or different scoring criteria before the next meeting so everybody can look at those, or you wanna just wait until the meeting and then do your scoring?
They're ahead of time.
Share them ahead of time?
Well, I'm getting slower, or at least I'm getting slower.
Okay. Well, Renner's going, she's
I think
got it for us.
I think he means he wants to receive them ahead of time.
Say that again, Alexis.
I'm just clarifying. I think he's asking for them ahead of time rather than us sending them our filled out ones ahead of time.
Oh, okay,
I'm not clear.
yeah,
Well, you guys have a-
That's just the scoring, Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
Oh.
say we could just bring our, our own individual scoring along on Monday. I think it'd be fine.
okay.
motion to adjourn.
Yep, okay, we can talk about it on next Monday, the scoring. Share what they are, where they are, and then,
You need a copy too.
Is there any need for Michelle at Monday's meeting?
Michelle
so,
is no one, oh,
yeah, I'm sorry, I did get an email last week. And I did not send it out because I was in the middle of another meeting, then I forgot to go back to get it. So anyways, she has stepped down from being our recording secretary starting in this year, 2025, and she shared many different reasons, and she's on a couple of other boards. She's on a planning commission for Bear Lake and some other things. She chairs some things, and she's just too busy, and she's not able to be our recording secretary anymore.
Okay. Did we get all the copies of all the minutes from the last few meetings? Cause I know she was a little behind.
He was,
Didn't I see many minutes just posted today or something? Or the other day, wasn't it? Is that from us?
I'm not sure.
I got an email ahead.
we can double check Tyler, but I thought she sent them off.
Okay.
I saw somewhere.
Hey, Cindy. Cindy,
But
who is the township clerk?
Bob Blackmore.
Oh, no.
For how long?
No,
Until
didn't,
we- Until we appoint somebody else.
Oh, okay.
We are
Glad
accepting.
Al asked that because I was confused because didn't Amber win the election?
She
Yeah,
did.
so what happened? Amber resigned as clerk about a week before the election, okay?
Yep.
No, I take that back. She resigned longer ago, before the election. But she resigned too late to get your name pulled from the ballot.
Gotcha.
So unfortunately, she resigned, but she was the only name on the ballot, so she got reelected. So she didn't re-resign, so the way the law reads for townships, a person elected in a township has until January 1st to take the oath of office. So the seat really isn't vacated till the 2nd of January, so you can't, like, we couldn't advertise for it because she could have walked in and taken the oath of office. So she didn't, so at our last township board meeting, we posted the position.
Gotcha.
But we reappointed Bob because if we don't have a clerk, it's like in townships. All kinds of all financial stops if you don't have a clerk.
All right. So Bob is there until, do you guys have anybody interested?
Last I knew, we only had one applicant. I don't know if more have come in. If so, nobody has told me.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you know anybody in Onekama Township that would like to be a clerk, we would love to have a resume from them.
Could do that.
No,
No.
retired, happily retired.
You guys have a good weekend.
You too, Al.
Thanks, you too.
Think we're adjourned. Everybody's left the room. I'm here by myself.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
See you guys.
All right, see you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay, Cindy, let's bear through this. I
Well,
got
it's not all there yet.
well, I got stapler, I've got to start.
Okay.
There was some taxing in there, I set that on top.
Go Buckeyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next Monday.